Hey, welcome back to day 14 of Project Me. I don't want to make a long video. I said that yesterday, but I did. And I'm actually quite excited to go to bed, so we're going to keep it really, really quick today. Just one thing on the agenda that I want to talk about that I didn't get to yesterday, and talk about today, and then daily reflection with Ryan Holiday's book. And lastly, we will move on to gratitude, and then that will be it. Aim is under 10 minutes. Right, so today what did I get up to? I woke up, did some of my torts work. I didn't go for a run again. I'm actually quite disappointed in myself because it's become a consistent thing. The hardest part I've realized is getting over that mental block. And what's curious is I have no problem getting over that mental block when I have nothing else going on in the day. But when I wake up and I think, oh, I have all these other classes, I should rest. Well, I don't actually think that, but it's curious, I can't quite make a proposition out of it, but I do recognize that it's a pattern that has emerged. Not quite sure how to approach it. I think I'll keep trying getting over the mental block. It might just be a habit thing, or if not, then I actually have to start changing my sleep schedule so that I go to bed 20 minutes earlier and wake up 20 minutes earlier every single day. That might be one option to do. But anyways, woke up, didn't go for a run. I did some work for school, went into campus, went to the other campus, had a great conversation with my friend Christina. She's just such a lovely person. She's one of the few people I think I genuinely enjoy having conversations with. From a two-way, right? I think she enjoys having them with me, and I really enjoy having them with her. She's just lovely. And lastly, I helped coordinate. No, that's the wrong one. It makes it sound like I had a very active hand in organising the event. I was just helping out an organisation here in Wellington that focuses on public diplomacy and educating the public on diplomacy. So I was just helping out with an event there, helping with registrations, and then went out for drinks afterwards with the organisers and the intern there. Had a good time, just lovely people, and I don't want to think like this, but they are people that can get me places as well, which is really cool. So it's nice that I'm making those connections. So pat on the back to me for having some networking prove useful, I suppose. The one thing I want to talk about that I didn't get to the other day was two things really. The first one is that, especially in parties or just with meeting new people, I'm always smiling and nodding. And I don't actually know for sure. I think it makes me seem a lot more agreeable. Well, the intention from me is to make myself seem agreeable, because people like agreeable people. People don't like people that disagree with them on everything, right? So part of it is this internal people-pleasing part of me. And so that's what I do. And I think I do it a little bit too much. And I think I need to cherry pick moments to do it when I genuinely agree. And that might make me seem a little bit more aloof, which is never really a bad thing, as long as you manage it, right? You want to feel close but aloof at the same time. But yeah, that's the first thing. I just think I smile and nod too often, and to some people, not everyone, but I think to some people it can make me appear weaker than I might otherwise be. And so that leads them to take advantage of my kindness, which I don't usually indulge, because I do recognize I'm very Machiavellian in that sense. I think I generally look beyond people, and rather than finding the best, I tend to find the worst. Or I don't look specifically for the worst, but I tend to find it more often, for whatever that may be. And that's a whole other video if we wanted to uncover that, because I think I quite a bit to talk about in that regard, about myself, but we won't go down that road. The other thing I wanted to talk about was bad storytelling on my part. I think I'm just a really bad storyteller. To be fair, my parents are not storytellers, and your parents are often where you get a significant chunk of your speaking mannerisms from. Neither of them are storytellers. Neither of them are very engaging speakers. And in that sense, I think it's carried over to me in some regard. where I never really learnt or was in a position to learn the principles of storytelling very often from, someone close to me. I do have friends who are good storytellers, but I don't spend a particularly huge amount of time with them. And, they're not great storytellers. They're good, but they're not great. And it's hard to learn something from someone who isn't great. You want to learn from the best, especially if you want to be good at it. And, well, for me in particular, I've noticed that sometimes when I tell stories, whether it be through a combination of other factors like my rate of speech, my diction, my cadence, my tone of voice, the pitch, whether it be through a combination of those things or just what's actually coming out of my mouth, I feel like I can't keep people engaged throughout the story. And I don't know what it is, because it's really hard to ask someone what I'm doing wrong, because we've talked about this before. Most people either won't tell you the truth, have an ulterior motive in what they tell you, or they are just not insightful enough to give you, genuine constructive feedback. And that's not an exhaustive list, it's just the things coming to mind right now. I need to learn how to craft, engaging stories and be able to tell them in speech. Because often, I'm in conversations with people and they'll pull out this story out of nowhere. And I'm like, wow, how did you come up with that? Well, obviously they didn't come up with it. I hope not. But like just out of the blue. And for me, it feels like we talked about this yesterday. I hardly talk about myself. And so to suddenly pull a story out of nowhere and make it engaging, that's like la creme de la creme, It's like something else on a whole other level. It's really humbling in that sense. And I need to get better at it. Really do. I think I need to start making a story book, of all the, a history of all the stories that I think are worthy of telling. And then I can draw on it and I can, craft them. I can plan out the stories, create the punchline beforehand and whatever. Like, same with jokes. I never really learned comedic timing. I've never been able to tell jokes. So, anyways, there's that. That's been weighing on my mind. I need to get better at that just to become a more engaging speaker, I think. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Ryan Holiday. Running far ahead of schedule. Fantastic. Love that. Alright, let's see. Today is May 7th? Yes, I'm right. For like the first time in forever. For the first time in forever. Forget you saw that. We actually already did May 7th, so we're going to look ahead at May 8th, because I'll probably end up skipping a day sometime this week, so we'll just keep going a day ahead until I skip a day. Anyways, May 8th. Good and evil, look at your choices. This is a quote by Epictetus. He asks, where is good? In our reasoned choices. Where is evil? In our reasoned choices. Where is that which is neither good nor evil? In the things outside of our own reasoned choice. I think that's very topical to me not being able to get out of bed and go for a run. Dostoevsky said it best, where reason fails, the devil helps. I think that's what he said. Something close to that. Something very close. In Crime and Punishment, he said that. And what I'm getting out of that in combination with this quote is when I wake up in the morning and I have that mental block and I justify to myself to stay in bed, that's coming from a reasoned choice. It's a choice that I'm making to think that way. I somehow need to persevere through that half-conscious mind still slumbering. I need to choose to go for the run. I need to choose to overcome whatever difficulty may it be that day, whether it be tiredness or whether it be laziness or whatever. I need to choose to overcome it. I need to choose to be the better person. I need to choose to be a better person than I was yesterday. It's all a choice. Let's see what Ryan Holiday has to say. Today, as things happen and you find yourself wondering what they all mean, as you find yourself contemplating various decisions, remember, The right thing to do always comes from our reasoned choice. Not whether something is rewarded, not whether something will succeed, but whether it is the right choice. Epictetus's dictum helps us cut through all this with clarity and confidence. Is something good or bad? Is this right or wrong? Ignore everything else, focus only on your choices. There we go, and I think I'd even extend it to go a little bit beyond, good or bad, right and wrong, and just go, it's not, I don't think it's a moral thing to make these choices. I suppose it can be if you want to look at it through that lens, but I think you can expand it and extend that doctrine a little bit. And, for example, in the morning, is getting up out of bed the right thing to do? Maybe, but it might not be, It's not necessarily I don't think it's necessarily and inherently a moral question. But I do think it is, it depends on your motivations. Is it the right thing for me to do, given I said I would? Yeah, maybe, right? But getting a bit off topic, and I don't want to talk about theoretical things too much. Let's move on to gratitude real quick. First of all, I am grateful to Matty, who brought me on board with this diplomatic organization and has just opened a bunch of doors for me. So really grateful to her. She's such a wonderful person. Just very glad I met her. Very thankful for what she's done for me and how kind she's been. Secondly, I am grateful for my friend Renzo. He lives in Peru. Just a fantastic guy, very accomplished constitutional lawyer and expert for his age and whatever else he does as well. Just fantastic guy, very competent. We keep each other up to date with our lives. Not every day, probably once a week, twice a week. To be fair, I could respond more often, but it is a little bit of a burden being on Instagram all the time, because if I open it to respond to him, I end up scrolling, for example. I don't like that, but really grateful to him for, always being accepting with my late responses and me with his, and, just keeping the conversation going. It's really nice to have a friend like him, so many miles and kilometers away, who you're able to keep up with, and who makes an effort to keep up with you as well. Thirdly, I am, to be controversial, it's cold, really cold here in Wellington. I am grateful for the cold. I hate it sometimes, really hate it, but I do love the cold sometimes. I love winter clothes. I think they're more stylish than summer. I said it. And I suppose as a large note, on that note, I'm grateful for this wonderful world we live in. To be able to see the world in different seasons, summer, autumn/fall, spring, winter. I think it's a privilege. I think we all too often take life for granted. So on that note, we'll end it right there. Thank you for watching. Good luck tomorrow, Ben, with whatever it is you do, and have a great one. Cheers.